So, with the airing of episode 25, this now marks the end of Summertime Rendering. And wow, was it a journey. I'm just going to say it outright. I absolutely enjoyed Summertime Rendering. It was just amazing. I have very little to complain about. And yeah, it's just such an amazing series. I'd even go so far as to call it a masterpiece. And yeah, I'm really sad that that we're not going to be able to see any more of this because man, this is a really good series, and I really enjoyed it. So let's talk a little bit about episode 25 and what I thought about that episode. I thought it was good, but I'm a little bit conflicted with this episode in general. So it starts off basically the same way that it does from episode 1, where you see Shimpi yelling out Ushio and bumping into Naguma, right? So that part remains the same. And then from there on, everything else just changes completely differently. So there are no more shadows, and everybody else is alive. So that's interesting. But I will say, though, I couldn't help but feel a little bit on edge while I was watching the episode because in my mind, everything was going really well. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I'm so used to a lot of anime where it's like they're trying to misdirect you. They're trying to get you to think everything is all good and well. And then all of a sudden something crazy just happens. But we didn't get any of that episode. And yeah, of course that makes sense. It's the last episode. I don't think you would do anything crazy in the last episode. You just give us a nice resolution and yeah. But like I said, I'm a little bit conflicted with this episode. On one hand, it is a nice ending. It's a good and happy one. I can't complain about that. But it is interesting because I'm not going to say like everything that happened was for nothing, but it's still a little interesting as everybody's alive, and that's a good thing. I should say that it is a good thing. It's a good ending. Shinpei doesn't really remember anything, and if he does remember anything, it's more on a subconscious level. But he doesn't really know why he's remembering the things he's remembering. But he really thinks it's mostly like a dream. So that's interesting, though. So everything is different now. And everything that did happen, it was basically as if it was a dream. And, yeah. So I'm a little conflicted with episode 25. I'm not sure if I necessarily super like it or if I'm super satisfied with it. But I also don't hate it, so I suppose there's that. I definitely think it did a good job with the ending. I can't super complain about it. I think it probably could have went about it maybe a little bit differently. But I'm always a little bit iffy with time travel things because it's like, well, you kind of just rewrote everything that happened before. But it's not like everything that happened before was any good anyways. Because like I said, many people were dying, the shadows were there and killing everybody. Like, yeah, that's no good. So I guess maybe this is the preferable ending. So, yeah, I can't really complain about that. So I want to talk about our antagonists, those being Shide and Heine, and maybe to a little extent Shadow Mio, but I want to talk about those three, right? Well, let's start off with Shide. Shide is absolutely terrifying. Like, he is just outright terrifying. He's incredibly intelligent, and his fighting skills are amazing, and he has seemingly no notable weakness, right? He just seems close to unstoppable. And then you have Heine, who is also pretty smart and is able to take in all the information that she's getting from Shinpei's loops. And that makes her incredibly dangerous because Shinpei is not the only person who's learning as he's looping, because Heine is also learning while he's looping. So she's taking advantage of the mechanic. And that right there is just completely unfair, if you ask me, because they're already so powerful as it is, and now they have the intellectual knowledge over Shinpei as well. That right there to me is crazy. And then I'll talk about Shadow Mio as well, because man, she's absolutely terrifying. In the first few episodes, Like even in the first episode, she's just completely terrifying. Like she just shoots everybody up, and Shinpei just dies, and it's like, whoa, that's just crazy. And in the second episode, she just sneaks up right behind Shinpei and just boom, right in the head. It's like, Jesus, like that's just terrifying. And she's powerful. Like, and then you don't even really know, is this the shadow or is this the actual Mio? That's another part of it that just makes it really terrifying. But yeah. But let's talk a little bit more about Shide. Shide, like I said, he's terrifying. He's smart, and on top of that, he's just outright condescending. Like he just loves being condescending whenever he gets the chance to, and that just adds a little bit more layer to how terrifying he is and how helpless the situations are. Like every time you see Shide on the screen, everything just feels helpless. Like there's nothing that you can possibly do to make this situation better. Like he just makes everything seems like, well, it's over. It's just over. That's how good of an antagonist he is, if you ask me. So now I want to talk about some of my favorite moments throughout this series. Now I don't remember every single one of these moments. There's a lot of good moments in this show, but I'll try to name off a few of them. Like in the first episode, we have with the reveal of Shadow Mio, like that right there is just crazy, and that's enough to get you hooked into the series because I mean she's just outright terrifying and she's just killing everybody, including Shinpei. Like, come on, like that's enough to get you hooked into the show. And then same with the second episode, you have Mio sneaking up behind Shinpei and just stabbing him in the head, all nonchalant, and that right there is also really crazy. And then in episode 4 we have the reveal of Ushio as a shadow. That right there is also really cool. Like I can't say I was necessarily expecting that, but I'm really glad that they did that because throughout the entire series, we have Ushio just being such an awesome character and just saving everybody. And without her, everything would just have failed. Honestly, Ushio is just that amazing of a character. That is also another cool thing. And also in episode 4, I really like the reveal of Shinpei as a shadow because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's not unexpected, but it does in a way kind of just grab you by surprise. But that moment right there is also just really cool. And also the introduction of Shide because you just see this massive shadow and it's like, whoa, what is that? It just is terrifying. And yeah, and that whole summer festival where they're just um, absorbing all the humans, like that right there is just also really crazy. And let me see, another moment that I really liked is when they were looking into the past. I don't remember what episode. I might have been episode 9. They're looking into the past, right? And they're seeing the moments of how Ushio died, and she's just drowning. And then they're trying to get back to the present time, and then Shiori just she just grabs Shinpei's arm and just brands him with a hand mark, and that right there is also really crazy. It just comes out of nowhere, and it's like whoa, because um, you're not really expecting that, and then it just comes out of nowhere. That also is really cool. And then I have another moment here when you find out that Tokiko is working with the shadows as well as her dad. Like that's also a really crazy revelation, but that's also interesting too, right? And then here's two more that I thought were really crazy, right? Um, was with Hizuru's death. That right there was one of the crazier moments of the show. It's not unexpected, but at the same time, it's just like wow. And I'm not gonna lie, it really hit me hard when I watched that episode. Like I felt kind of numb for a few hours afterwards. I was like, wow. Like it really affected me in a way. I was like, that's crazy. And the last one, this one by far was the craziest moment for me in the series. And this was before Hizuru's death, but it was when they were at the shrine, right? And let me see, they were looking for Shide, and they're trying to figure out if he was a shadow or not, right? And they're trying to see if they could kill him or not. And then he just sneaks up behind Ushio and just stabs her shadow and just slices upward. And it's like, and then Ushio's just gone. And that right there, by far, was the craziest thing that I've seen. It was like, oh no. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, we are screwed. We are screwed. That was like the craziest moment because it's like, well, Ushio has just been the most integral part for trying to killing these shadows, and now she's gone. It's like, well, what are we going to do now? Like, there's not much that we can do. But then also, I was really glad when we managed to get Ushio back again later on. Like, that was also really good because it's like, well, we need Ushio. There's no way that you can win without her. And I'm really glad to see her again because she's such a great character. And I saw her just die. I was like, oh no, that's crazy. And then she came back. It's like, okay, that's good. I'm glad that she came back because otherwise, yeah, that wouldn't be any good. But yeah, those are some of my favorite moments throughout throughout the entire series. But yeah, overall, I really love this anime. It's definitely in my top 25 of some of the best animes that I've seen. I just really love it. I'm sad that there's no more episodes, but it is what it is. But yeah, this is such a great anime. It's definitely left a huge impact for me. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that such a anime exists. And yeah, and that's going to be it for today. My name is DBC. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button and like button as well if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing many more reviews in the future, and I'm going to be signing out.